Who has impressed you the most? Like, who's your standout driver for 2023?
For 2023, my standout driver is first Max Verstappen. Like you said, Max Verstappen has completely obliterated the competition.
Through goes Hamilton! You can hear the cheers from Monza!
The mics are on and off we go.
Hi guys, my name is Winnie.
My name is Ray.
And welcome to the World Spin Podcast, the home of Formula One content and everything motorsport. We are back with another episode.
Another banger.
Another banger. So we were out last hoorah of the season. Abu Dhabi, we were closing out the season that has been, honestly, I feel like, I don't know if it's because we are running this podcast, this season has gone by so fast.
Yeah.
Like I just remember the drivers went on a summer break and then we came back and then we have so many races and then now, I think, but also this season has ended quite early this year, relatively, like it's ended a bit earlier.
I mean, it's ended earlier also last season. But I don't know why this. But I think next season is ending a bit later in the year.
But also it's also starting very early in the year. So we have like 100,
I mean,
100 days or something to the next race.
96.
Oh, 96.
96 days to the next race. I mean, we were in Abu Dhabi, the last race of the season, and I don't know. It wasn't really exciting.
Honestly, I will say, I think we've also, of course, we've addressed it in the short term. Mm-hmm. We've been existent as a podcast. Like, Abu Dhabi, I mean, honestly, there's some straights, there's some parts of the track I don't want to see because there's still so much trauma. So I'm
You're getting re-triggered.
Yeah, I like with the things happening, just seeing that track, people overtaking on that straight, I'm like, yeah, no. As in, honestly, I feel there's no healing. Like, I don't know, like it's never going to happen. So we went into Abu Dhabi with, I think the whole, the thing being at stake was P2 in the constructors. So there was like a showdown between Mercedes and Ferrari.
Yeah.
Ferrari were trailing Mercedes with around 4 points. 4 points. So Mercedes were ahead of Ferrari. But then so that was the whole story coming into this weekend, and also the drivers fighting for P4. I mean, Alonso, Lando Norris, and Leclerc.
It's just seeing how Formula One itself and just every Formula One broadcasting site, they were milking the fight for P2. I mean, is this what Formula One has come to? We're milking the fight for P2. I mean, there's much at stake. I mean, there's 10 million more at stake,
and that's a lot of money. I think you know why it's important to finish maybe very high up on the constructors or whatever. Mostly the constructors.
Yeah.
There's a prize pot that the teams get to share. So profits gotten from F1, I think through Liberty Media, half of it I think now goes to Liberty, and then there's like a prize pot of around $900 million. That's I think data from last year. And then F1, the F1 teams have an agreement called the Concord Agreement that also stipulates how the cash prize is shared out. Yeah, they have all this. So I think number one gets 16%. They amended it, so the agreement now goes up to 2025. So I think the number one team gets 16% of the cash prize, and then I think the last P10 I think gets around either 6%. Yeah, 6% of the cash prize. And this cash prize is important for the teams because I know we had Toto Wolff say, this you've paid for some people's mortgages, school fees, whatever fees, because this cash prize goes as bonus to the teams, and the teams that pay their employees. And some of these teams have so many, employees, not only the people we see on track, but people who are based at their factories back at their home bases. So, and also then coming into this weekend, you could see arguments of people saying that people who wanted. So, for example, I know Ray, you didn't want us to get the P2 because the higher you place, the less wind tunnel time. And I think we've talked about wind tunnel being like you get a chance to test out your car parts to see how well your car fares in like a simulated racetrack condition. So Mercedes were through. I think George had an I think FP1 interrupted running. Someone had like we it was like very early on. Someone went off right, and then there was a red flag, and then we came back again, and then immediately before you could even go running, another red flag.
I mean, I feel like where George finished, he actually, okay, not, given the Perez penalty, he deserved to be on the podium, to celebrate the podium. He's been on it since FP1, FP2, FP3. Qualifying, he did a good run.
Yeah, this is like, I think, one of those weekends where Mercedes, where George Russell like had a better hold of the W14 compared to Lewis, because Lewis has not been very one with his car, like even in qualifying, got kicked out of in Q2, and then George Russell proceeding to Q3. Yeah. But then I think Ferrari had a design. I mean, honestly, I think Charles Leclerc was actually like in one of the qualies, like section 1, Q1, Q2. He actually looked like he was struggling. Even on his first run in Q3, he was like struggling. And then I don't know where he got his, like he extracted so much from his car. And then I'm like shocked. Boy. Exactly, he's a one lap wonder. Like, I'm like, we are seeing Leclerc is like, oh, P2. I'm like, oh, wow. Like, interesting. Like, I think we have to also like props to him. Like Leclerc has like wonderful qualifying form, and I can't wait for the day that he's able to convert. This is also a year he's gotten a number of poles, but like
the
poles
and poles are max wins,
and then no wins. I mean, of course, seeing as also he was driving against like the RB19 of Max Verstappen. I mean, but also there's that one he was on pole and then did not didn't even start. Yeah, so but also like that was like the whole takeaway exit of Lewis in Q2, and also like that brilliant lap put together by Charles Leclerc
and Sainz exiting in Q1. So I mean, so it was all to play for on Sunday, given there's two people in Q3 in the top 10, and then there's two people in the bottom 10, and they're both fighting for the same championship, for the same position in the championship. I will be very honest. The race wasn't very exciting for me because I could tell who was going to be, on the podium. I could tell by the time we start the race, it's lights out and away we go. Max Verstappen wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix.
But also, like, I'll point out something that I really enjoyed from the start of the Grand Prix was how, like, I didn't even know, like, Leclerc was going to be that feisty. I loved how, of course, he even, like, as in he was very, like, he took going into, I think, turn 1, was it? As in, that time he push? They went wide, because like Leclerc was trying to pull into the inside and then Max pulls to the outside. I feel like there was a decent like scraping for the first few minutes of the race, but it wasn't to be anything because Max, again, as we've said, as he was on like. And Leclerc, even after the race, said, of course, he knew even though he got ahead of Max Verstappen, he was going to catch him either way. So I think that's the only bit of the race I enjoyed. The other thing, honestly, there wasn't anything else. Ferrari, I think they honestly, I feel like they could have won. They just had very bad strategy with Carlos Sainz. They really banked this whole strategy on Sainz was just backed by influenced by the probability of a safety car. And I feel like that's not like a good backing because
who do they expect to bring us out a safety car?
Latifi is in school now.
Yeah, so who did you expect to bring out a safety car? So it was just funny because Carlos Sainz started on hards and they pitted him for hards, and he was racing against Stroll. I think that was who his race was against. So just seeing him, it's lap 55, he's still out. They haven't pitted him yet. I was like, Ferrari. I think they just gave up and they were like, you know what? Let's take the extra wind tunnel time.
Yeah, and I think I think the person who's like, I feel like during the last closing stages after that 5-second penalty for Perez, and then Charles Leclerc being tactical. I feel like the Ferrari drivers, I mean, we've seen Sainz control the race, how he won Singapore by providing DRS
DRS
for
to
Lando
Lando.
Norris to keep Russell and Hamilton at bay. This was also Leclerc he was being a strategist, a driver, and a team principal
Principal at
all
the
at the
same
same
time.
time. He was let me let
Yeah,
Perez through.
through.
Perez, he thought maybe, I feel like this is a strategy they should have, if it would have worked if they had done it earlier, like 2 laps, not like 1 lap to build a 5-second gap, because honestly they could have.
I mean, maybe probably at the in the pit wall, maybe his engineer didn't relay the fact that Perez had a penalty before.
I think alimwambia like a bit
later, and then Perez was like, okay. I mean, Leclerc was like, okay, big brain time.
That was so
maybe
smart.
if I slow down, Russell is going to be under 5 seconds. Is going to be above 5 seconds, and we can take P2 in the championship.
Yeah, I mean, that was working. Like, I think, again, I have not seen... This is brilliant. I mean, of course, I did hear in commentary, this is something that Rosberg and Hamilton have done before. I have not confirmed which race, but I will, and I'll keep it up. Like, I will post it on our social medias. So this is brilliant when we see such reasoning from drivers. Like, you want someone... Like, so Leclerc let Perez through, Perez to build a gap.
Yeah, and him to slow down so that... so that Russell can, be slower. He wanted to slow down so that Perez can build a gap, and he can build a gap to Perez. So when they combine the time, it's going to be, more than 5 seconds, but it wasn't. It was 3.8.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, for 3 point something, almost 4 seconds, which Russell then was able to be on the podium. And honestly, he was brilliant this weekend. And during the race, kept... stood on his business, raced. Lewis had, of course, he was not like happy with the car, honestly. And then with that incident with Alonso brake testing him. And I feel like did you watch the replay of the brake testing? Do you think I don't know why it wasn't penalized. Honestly, I feel like
the FIA.
yeah. I think I don't even want, but we have to talk about it because sometimes we keep on saying, like all the time, when I see when we are saying we do not see representation of Lewis Hamilton in the F1 media, because there seems to be like an agenda for most of this media houses, especially. And I'm like, we have a platform there, so we cannot say let's not talk about it. Like, it's the same way. Like, I just noticed something interesting. So I watch a lot of F1 TV content, and I was watching like when they debrief like a lot of their races, and I was like, there's always a tone. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it, but there's a tone they take with Lewis Hamilton when they're explaining his events, and there's always like, I have noticed also, I don't know if because there are no interviews for Lewis, like when I don't want to name the media house, but I've already said it's like an F1 TV production. So like when they are doing the debriefs and they're like bringing driver reactions, they have brought, I think when they talk about an event, they're talking about the driver, they bring what he said about it. But I didn't see anything that is Lewis Hamilton. Yeah. I was not watching, I was watching because I liked the show. Like I wasn't, but it's something that stood out to me that it's not there. And the fact is that like in all these races, like in all those debriefs they were doing, there was a mention of Lewis Yeti, like they mentioned him, and there wasn't like I would say like maybe he's not there because he wasn't mentioned, but it's primarily like something that maybe happened. Like for example, that you remember, like I will go back to, is it Singapore? It's not Singapore. Why is that place Lewis had a 5-second penalty, and he had like a moment with Piastri and he overtook Albon?
I'm trying to remember. I'm just remembering the Perez one.
Yeah, which race was that? Like
Perez was it Zandvoort?
I'm thinking it's Zandvoort. Yeah, it's Zandvoort.
It was Zandvoort.
That's why he had a very good reaction time, no?
I think it was.
I'm not very sure, but
did Zandvoort have a sprint race?
No.
It was a sprint race.
No, we've had sprint race at Belgium, at Spa,
then it was at Spa.
Austria. Yeah, I think it has to be Spa.
Yeah, it has to be.
But
Spa.
I don't know, that corner is so I don't know why I can remember it. So like you're discussing such an event, I feel like the other driver's take is very important, right? Like you've already brought like, this is what this driver said, so what did the other person say as well? Like anyway, that's just something. So I'm like, I think we can't keep complaining and then act the same. Just say we'll sweep it under the rug. Sometimes they're like, we don't want to talk about it. Like, we will talk about it.
He did actually brake test him. And, just when, things happen in Formula One, it solicits so many feelings from people and different interpretations. So people are asking, Lewis Hamilton had all this space, he would have just overtaken Fernando Alonso. And it's just that it doesn't work like that, because if Lewis overtook him,
that guy was trolling. I know what post you're talking about on Twitter, and he was trolling.
Yeah,
I just think he was just doing it for the
If Lewis Hamilton overtook Alonso, he would have got DRS first, and then Alonso would have got DRS after Lewis. And he was obviously going to take the place back. So at the end of the day,
there was as in for me, it's always like, as in, if someone is noted for something, like, I don't think Lewis is a madman, like, for him to point out like you're brake testing me. And like, anyway, I will also now in line with talking about regulations and how they applied in F1 and by FIA specifically, especially this season, we saw those Max Verstappen in the pit lane during the practice sessions really pushing, like, really, like, it's like he's getting so racy, when we didn't have a lot of running in FP1, so maybe FP2 people had to draw to get something more, to get more track time to understand your car around Abu Dhabi. So he actually like overtook Uko kwa pit lane, and he's pushing, shoving people. It's like, you're wasting my time, like, get out.
And then he goes to say, they pushed me.
No, as in, the thing is, okay, I also, again, I took the time to actually, like, see, instead of just reacting blindly again, I wanted to understand, is he breaking any rules? Like, because it says you can overtake, in the pit lane, there's like that, that red, like, line. So when you're coming out, there's that space, and then once you get out and the pit exit, there's a thin, that red line, like, it tapers off. So it tapers off, and then there's a white line. Yeah. So up to there, you can, if you overtake from that place, then that's like overtake. That's like the racing line. So you can't like overtake up to there. I don't think you understand.
I understand.
Like, you can't go past that line, like you want to go, you go past it. So from that explanation, he's in the right of doing.
Yeah, there's no rule against that.
Yeah, but then now you sit and wonder, like, was a car in front of him damaged? Were they standing? Was this? I mean, he's been stationary in the pit exit himself, right? Like before, he's caused people delays. Now, so why can't you? Like, I mean, that seems like a very shovey thing for him to do. I think he's feeling very empowered. Like, okay, we'll talk about like his campaign. We'll react to like how Max has been, like the whole season,
entire season,
what maybe we think about it and everything. But I feel like that was also one other thing to. But I can't even fault Lewis Hamilton fans and everything when things like this happen, and like us, we're always so quick to be given penalties, like no hesitation, anything. So yesterday, like during the race, I saw the first, like, oh my God, we are under investigation for a pit
infringement. And they wrote it, Lewis Hamilton under investigation for pit lane infringement. I'm like, oh God, this is a 5-second penalty.
Yeah, I was so shocked.
But then
I took a moment. I was like, oh, then I saw someone, like, I think I went to Twitter, one of the like he says, oh yeah, it's in relation to like the crew not putting on protective eyewear.
Because I had it was Lewis Hamilton and it was Gasly at that moment that were in violation of the pit lane.
But let me tell you,
and
the
then,
reaction
and
before
then it was Max Verstappen, and I was like, we're not getting
safe.
a penalty.
Yeah, you see how sick that is. But at first I was like, before I actually saw that Gasly one, the Lewis one, and then when I saw that it's the eye thing, I was like, first of all, we can't even stop nicely. We can't even stop. Like, we can't do a pit stop properly. And then second of all, we can't even dress properly for the pit stop. I was like, because again, we can't. Lewis was racing. Like, the racing was quite close, to be honest. Yeah. So you delaying your pit stop, the more time you spend in the pit lane, like the more time
flex on the track.
On the track 100. I'm like, we are fighting for a P2 in the championship, and you have the time to stop for 3.4 seconds.
The thing is, if I was Toto Wolff, I'll be there, at the end of my garage saying, you people need to hurry up.
In fact, tell them they can be faster. He was talking to his drivers, telling them, oh, you can do this, you can catch them and everything. I think guys like Mercedes, as in, honestly, I feel like we have to keep it. You have Ferrari, my team, Ferrari yesterday got they were 2.2. I was like, 2.6?
I'm like, Ferrari. I
Wow.
mean,
Like, as
I
in-
think they can deliver when they feel like delivering.
But
They're
let's
not
just say-
consistent with their
but also,
delivery.
like, I think this is also something we have to say. I don't think Ferrari knows how to cope with two cars. Like with,
I think
can't
they
run
should
two-
just.
They
I
can't
think
run
they
two-
should just have one car in the championship.
Yeah, imagine they should. They can do so well because we've seen they don't know how to work. They panic. They don't know how to
Yeah.
act. It's either one of the cars like strategies itakunywa maji like
Yeah,
itakuwa tu so
The-
bad.
it's only one car's success is to the other's detriment.
That
Like
always-
they can never have like a good campaign. Maybe we have like a Sainz P4 and a Leclerc P5. No, it has to be. It's either Sainz to have that P4 and Leclerc
P8.
sacrifice
Yeah.
in order for Sainz to have that P4.
It's
ju-
like
it doesn't make
it's
sense.
like yeah, it's like even in that time in Singapore, I was like, oh my god, their strategy was like, so you already you're sacrificing, you're making a sacrifice so
early
early
in the race. You could have had
on.
two cars in the
podiums. I was like, I do not think they know how to act when they have two cars like placing very high, not even very high, even when they place low. Like their strategy will only be on one person.
Yeah.
And I understand, but still, like that's your job. You have two cars. Is it too much? Like, come on, you have two cars on track. Focus on them. You can optimize. You can optimize strategy and not leave the other one. Like for example, like you leaving out one car, like the strategy, like starting this race. What's your strategy? Safety car.
Safety car.
Like,
What is the
that's- oh
strategy?
God,
Safety
like,
car.
no. Like Sainz was on a one stopper, right?
Yeah, he was.
No,
You
he was
actually,
stopping
you could
twice.
not. You could not do a one stopper because if you want to do a one, as by the rules, you have to change to a different tire compound than the one you started on.
Yeah.
So he started on hards and pit for hards.
So he had to do a medium.
eventually you had to pit again. So it's lap 50. We're just asking ourselves, has Sainz pit? No, he hasn't pit yet. It's lap 50. You haven't pit Sainz. I mean, they could have pit him and he would have maybe tried to sprint to the finish
With
and
softs,
maybe finish P10. But no, they were like, you know
Abu
what?
safety
We'll just
car.
take the extra wind tunnel time.
And
want
I
that.
think if you want to see like what like a one stopper was going to work, look at Tsunoda. Tsunoda had a very good, I mean he finished ahead of Lewis, right?
Yeah, he had a very good.
he had
run.
a very good run as well.
Qualified P6, finished P8.
I think that's his best qualifying. Was it P5 or P6?
P6.
P6.
His
That
best
was his best
qualifying.
qualifying. I think he was on a good run. I think also the other person like McLaren as well, like Piastri, Lando at first they were giving us a good race as well.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's it. Like perfect donuts from Max Verstappen. Honestly, that race there's nothing very exceptional about it.
Yeah,
Like I can
but I
react
felt
to-
bad for Leclerc. What do you mean he can't do donuts?
Even them
and he's
can
on
do
the
them.
podium.
He can't know.
They couldn't even give him that.
Ferrari,
And he's
like-
been the strategist and the driver and the team principal, and you don't want him to do
and
donuts.
even his own teammate. He was his own teammate
Yeah,
as well.
I felt so bad for Charles.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
but-
I mean, I could feel like, yeah. But anyway,
So
it's
Max
okay.
just did donuts on his own.
And they were perfect donuts. Honestly, even when he's doing donuts, he's being. Anyway, so I think that was him solidifying he had now 19 wins.
Yeah, 19 wins
this
from
season.
a 2020 from a 22 race season.
19 out of 22. Oh my
So
god.
Red Bull won 21 races out of 22.
So now
Do you know how
I think-
crazy that is?
So I think it's good now we can go like now directly into that's Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
whatever happened. Oh yeah, so I think Williams also finished P7 in the
P7,
constructors. And then
Albon just
Albon-
carrying this team on his back.
And also now I don't think I had James Valls, that's Williams
Yeah,
team
team
principal,
principal.
talk about Sargent. Do you think they're going to sign Sargent? That can be
I-
us do silly season later. Like, I don't
I
think
really
so.
don't think so.
So
Like
do you
the
think
general tone of his, of that interview is, we're thinking about it, but
I don't think they're going to do So who's
we're
going
looking
there?
for another option.
Theo Pocher. You know me, I'm calling
I,
him
don't- I,
Pocher.
I, I don't know if they might take Theo, but maybe because Theo is he's the reserve driver for which team? Theo Pocher. Is it Haas
yeah.
or Alfa Romeo?
Alfa Romeo. He drives for Alma.
I think he's.
I'll-
I don't know,
think
but
he's-
his racing suit is Sauber, so I don't know if it's Alfa Romeo or the Haas. Oh, I think it's Alfa Romeo.
Alfa Romeo.
Yeah, it's Alfa Romeo. So him driving for Alfa Romeo. Yes, we're talking about Theo Pocher. He's the F2 champion.
I know you. I know people were so devastated. People, I know you support Vesti.
I was a
Frederick
Vesti supporter, so I was heartbroken.
Yeah,
that
but
he
I
didn't get to
mean,
win.
like he's won F2. Like this is what was this his rookie season? No, not
No,
his
no,
rookie.
no.
Oh, I think I was talking about Oscar Piastri and I think George won F2 in their rookie
season.
Like they took the championship in their rookie season. But I mean, congratulations to him, and I can't wait to see. Like I don't know. We'll just wait and see who Williams.
I don't know if maybe Vesti,
I don't know.
maybe someone
Or
else.
Mick,
I don't know.
Mick?
No, not Mick Schumacher.
Why?
Mick.
He signed for WEC. I know
Yeah,
the World
Mick-
Endurance,
Mick-
but
Mick
I hear he has an F1 clause. Like he can exit if he gets like a seat.
If he gets a seat, I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe Mick Schumacher is
And
driving
also-
for Alpine for their hypercar in the World Endurance Championship, and also Nick De Vries is driving for. He's driving for.
I've forgotten the team as well.
Yeah, but
And
I think it's
I
Nissan.
think also Paul Di Resta. Paul Di Resta is in. It's either he's in the WEC as well, the World Endurance like Championship, or like he's in a certain series. You bullied that man out of TV.
I mean, did you see the F1 graphic yesterday when they were showing the drivers championship? There was number 21, Paul De Vries.
Who's Paul
Paul
Di
De
Vries?
Vries. I don't know, but
Don't imagine now if there's someone like in real life, like that's your name, Paul
Paul
Di
De
Vries.
Vries. He was driving for Trident. We have
But
11
the Alpha
teams.
Tauri are actually like changing their names. So
Yeah,
they're
I
changing.
mean, it's so funny. Why would you change your name to Racing Bulls? I mean,
You know
if-
why they
if
were
not-
called the Alpha? Do you know what they were called? Alpha Tauri was a clothing brand, like
Yeah.
the brand that was like their biggest sponsor. That's why they were like Alpha
Alpha
Tauri.
Tauri.
They couldn't like get something else. Racing Bulls, like
Racing
Red
Bulls,
Bulls.
it's just a slap on our face, and it's just like we have a sister team and you guys don't.
Racing Bulls.
It's actually Red Bull is actually.
No, I feel like I
mean,
think
it's-
also honestly I loved their Toro Rosso era. Like Toro Rosso is Toro Rosso.
It's just
Toro
a-
Rosso
a-
was
a-
like Toro Rosso is like.
It's a
very
beautiful
good.
name. So
Yeah.
I don't know. No, maybe going into next season, maybe Alpha Tauri might drive the RB19.
I feel, and I think now we can talk about what the season has been like for. I think first I will give my take
Yeah.
for me.
And rate it out of 10.
The season. No, in fact, I was going to just talk about Max Verstappen first. Or the season, I'll give it. Honestly, I did watch all of them and debrief, and we always had something to say all the time.
Yeah.
So I'll give it a 5. A 5 out
A
of 10.
5 is average.
For me, a 5 is 5 out of 10.
Okay.
Because I'm rating it a 5 because there's some sensational like overtakes, as much as they weren't like front, like fight for P1.
Yeah.
They were
for
sensational,
P2.
like P2, P3, P4. There was some brilliant overtaking. One specific overtake that has stayed with me, it stayed in my head, was how far back Leclerc was on Perez when he overtook him in Vegas. Just a previous race. That man is like also a late break wonder. Like his late breaking he was so, I don't know, like, I wish I could show you guys. Like, he was so far back, but he still like got to the turn with enough grip and was able to get past Perez. I've also like, there was also sensational like driving from Lewis Hamilton, to be honest. Like, if anything, the only reason why they was able to fight for a P2 is because all through he
Yeah,
has
he's
fought,
been
and he's very
consistent.
consistently, like, even when the car is not, like, he has put several podiums for Mercedes, and that's why he also finished P3 in the constructors. So I think, yeah, I'll give it an average of 5. How would you rate the season?
How would I rate the season? Ooh. I would just say now because you've given it a 5, can I give it a 5 as well?
No, give it your please. It's a safe space. 4.
I think a 4 out of 10.
Yours,
I will be
yeah.
very honest.
Ray has been very underwhelmed by this.
It's been very underwhelming, and people might think, oh, it's just because she's a Lewis Hamilton fan, that's why. No, I just feel like I have been let down by the teams less than the drivers. The drivers have done what they had to do, but the teams have let me down. And by the teams, I mean Mercedes, Ferrari. I can't even talk about McLaren because McLaren came into the season very far behind, and they, with the upgrades, they were able to, finish where they finished, P4.
Did they get ahead of Aston Martin?
Yeah, P4 in the standings. So I feel like the teams have disappointed me. Aston Martin has disappointed me as well. From starting the season looking like they can actually challenge the Red Bull and then falling, very far behind. I'm actually very disappointed. I'm also disappointed in the FIA because...
Load your complaints, girl.
Because number one, the penalties are not consistent when they actually give the penalties, and most of the times they don't actually give the penalties where they're supposed to give the penalties. So the FIA has also disappointed me. So it's just been a very underwhelming season. A 4 out of 10.
A 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
A strong rating. I'll also say, I feel like for me, I'll speak on Max Verstappen because sometimes we're told we talk about Lewis so much, but I'll talk about Max Verstappen and what maybe this season has been for him. I feel like he has led a relentless campaign this season. He has taken 19 wins in a 22 season, like 22 race year.
Yeah.
So we had 22 races this year. He's taken 19 wins. I don't know if you understand how crazy that is. So I think he has been relentless. This Max Verstappen took his championship, the 2023 championship, very early on, at Austin during the sprint race. We still had 6 more races to go, and he has not let down.
Yeah.
Every opportunity he has to win.
To win, he
will
will
win. And even how I could see he has had the most successful season statistically speaking.
Yeah, of
because
any
now
driver.
of any driver in any season he has been. Oh my God, he has been sensational. Honestly,
Masterclass.
He has been producing masterclasses. It's either it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He got his championship. It doesn't matter. I'll show up. And even how tactical he was, he has led over 1,000 laps this season, and that's why he didn't want to let go of track position. Remember when he was during the race, he was oh, you can beat Perez fast. I know people thought it was because he was trying to help Perez.
Yeah,
no,
to
it's for
help
him,
Perez.
man. He wanted to lead over 1,000 races, and it's okay. I wish I'd have he's so relentless. I mean, it's honestly, he was I think he's said in an interview where he's why wouldn't I want to win? If I know people are oh, can I just, you've won. Can you let other people? No. Mark's known is I think so in that sense. And driving is not just about, I know we call them machine merchants, but it takes you to be one with the car. It takes the driver skill, and then it takes the car as well. So I feel he's taken advantage. I don't know if Red Bull will be, I don't know, I have a feeling they will be again very successful, but I don't know, once you finish a season, they have been relentless as well. Their pit stops are also very good because again, as we said, the race, yes, is on track, but it's also one in the pit stops. But when you have a fast car, yeah, you can afford to have slow pit stop, but they don't have slow pit stops, and you can even when you have the fastest car on track, you can afford to make some strategical errors, but they have not, apart from Singapore, where they were very, very, very unlucky with the placing of the safety car, and that's the only place that we actually
so a non-Red Bull win.
Yeah, we actually saw a downs, we were exposed to some a weakness in the RB19 and the whole Red Bull fraternity. That's the only place, and they also didn't finish out of the points. Max also was he was in the points in Singapore. So I will say, he has good racecraft. He has questionable comments sometimes, and it's I know people are also saying to achieve all this, he's just 26 years of age, but also Max Verstappen joined Formula 1 when he was a teenager. He joined F1 at 17, but also even when you look at his early on seasons, this guy was promoted from the junior team Toro Rosso into Red Bull as well. We keep on saying it's a culture with Red Bull they have. So he has led, he deserves to be applauded for what he has done. And as you've said, for this season, FIA needs to be very consistent. And we've talked about it all the time. Like, they're very inconsistent in the way they apply the rules and regulations. And that is something that needs to be looked into. Like, while you do your internal audit, I feel like that is something that can be, looked into. So, and I think we can talk about who has impressed you the most, like who's your standout driver for 2023?
For 2023, my standout driver is first Max Verstappen, like you said. Max Verstappen has completely obliterated the competition. I mean, we went to this season knowing, the Red Bull is fast, but I mean, just saying this as compared to his teammate Sergio Perez, Max Verstappen has been on top, just on top. Max Verstappen, I think, has finished the season with 575 points.
Yeah.
And Red Bull as a constructor with 860. So basically, he's given his team 2/3 of their points. So we can just say, the Red Bull car is very fast, but as compared to his teammate has only won 2 races, and he's won 19 races. So he's been amazing. He's been consistent on it every single time.
Yeah.
He's there to win, and he doesn't care. He will win until you guys get bored. And if you want to get bored, you can change the sport and watch something else. But
Go
to another series, but Max Verstappen will continue winning. And
I don't think it's like, as you've said, it's not his responsibility to go slower.
Yeah.
If you want to catch up with him, build a faster car. Like, I think Red Bull came here, there was regulations. They've had a car that's working. You continue, they're working around your concepts, trying to figure out something out. They're going to Max, did you finish?
No.
Before just finish.
Just Red Bull, like you've said, Red Bull have been on it the entire season. These people are winning every single race. They have the time to start other propagandas on the side because they're winning every single time. They want to distract you. You're saying, okay, Max Verstappen is winning every time, so it's boring. So they're bringing you stories so that you can
talk about
other things if you don't want to talk about Max Verstappen winning. But to be honest, Max Verstappen finishing this season with 54 wins. He goes, on the records for the third most wins,
just
of
behind
all
Lewis
time.
Hamilton at 103 and Michael Schumacher at 97.
Yeah, so continuing, 2024 season, 2025, before these regulations expire, Max Verstappen might actually get to almost 100. If he wins again another, maybe 20, because we're going 23 races next season, and then he wins 20, another 20, that's 40. He'd be at 94 wins before we change the regulations.
So he's been your standout driver for this year?
He's been, he's been my standout driver. I have to give props to Lewis Hamilton because dragging that car into P3 in the championships is commendable. Also, I will also Charles Leclerc and Lando Norris. I think they've been really standout for me with Alex Albon in their Williams. Anytime he can get a chance to score points, he will actually score points. But, I'm just to mention, apart from, my standard drivers, just to mention, Red Bull have 860 points finishing when they finished Abu Dhabi, yesterday. The last team has 12 points. I don't know, do you guys see how crazy that is? That even Red Bull, if we combine the points of Mercedes and Ferrari, they still can't get to Red Bull points.
Yeah.
So they need to just understand how, fast this car has been and just how they've had a terrific season.
Definitely, because again, the points that the team gets are just cumulative of your drivers.
Yeah.
So if anything, like Max has had a sensational
season. He
and
has
that's
twice
why
Perez's points.
And that's why maybe he helps his team have this large points and everything. So my standout driver for this season, of course Max has been on and on and on. I want to say Lando Norris. I know we don't talk about him like a lot, but Lando Norris has excellent racecraft. Piastri might pick him in qualifying sometimes,
Yeah,
but
but
Piastri is a
always-
rookie. So, but he's like he's
You just need some, some more time when more
yeah.
more coaching.
Lando Norris, like I think he's not won a race yet, but I know it's coming for him. It's coming. Honestly, I've seen he looks he even feels like he's racing a bit different, maybe compared to maybe like 2 years ago, like in 2021. Like right now, he looks like very level-headed with like they came with their upgrades working. He has been like an amazing driver.
Actually, yeah, true.
And-
He's not really, like maybe 2 years, prior, he was, on the radio, he's shouting, but now he's more cool. He's told, this is what we're thinking. Is like, okay, copy.
And I think, and also Oscar Piastri, I want to, he's had, what a rookie season he's had.
Yeah.
He's, as in we've said it before, Oscar Piastri, you are who you think you are, man. Like you are
champion.
a future world champion, and I wish that happens for you. So he's had a good season. Lewis Hamilton, we know you always get into a weekend, like it doesn't matter, like you get in you have a difficult Friday, difficult Saturday. We know and we trust in you. Even when I'm watching a race, I know that I have a fighting driver in Lewis Hamilton, and I know someone who is like good at what he does, and he will do everything to win. And as we've said, he's the one who's like, I mean, he finished P3. Like we have to talk about it, like as in McLaren, after like their upgrades, they've been sensational, very, 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 very good. Aston Martin, they started their campaign, their 2023 campaign on such a high, but
Then they fell.
Alonso has like 8 podiums from this season. So I mean, honestly, for Lewis to have, he really single-handedly, like somehow throughout the season, for the most parts of the season, really carried Mercedes up in their constructors until they started having. I think he's had a very couple of difficult, like the last.
Just since Qatar, he's
we've had
been
very,
a bad.
It's been a very, very, very bad. And remember, again, we were actually disqualified once in a race. Like this is a year we've suffered disqualification. Honestly, I think we've been in the boat.
It's even funny just looking back.
Yeah.
Like we said yesterday with the whole pit lane incident with Lewis. I was just looking and I was like, he might get a 5-second penalty, and then I just look back and I'm like, he's been disqualified before,
and
so.
we didn't end. So, and I think also the other thing I want to, even the midfield, I know people are really trying to boil and like push it down our throat that this season has provided very close racing. Honestly, there's qualifying sessions, like as in the top 10, or like the grid was actually basically like separated by by very small margins. I mean, of course, these regulations were supposed to bunch up the grid, but I don't think they have worked in the sense that we have had one team win 21 out of the 22 races in this season. I think that's something. I mean, I don't know how they're going to check it, or maybe like it has bunched the grid together. Like for example, in Abu Dhabi, there's a time like there was a whole DRS train from P3 to
but like I say, like I've continued to say, I don't think these regulations have worked, because as much as we have closer racing, there's a whole DRS train. At the end of the day, it's just the same teams that are finishing in the points. It's unless there's something that has happened, unless there's like maybe someone suffered a reliability issue, or maybe someone.
But I know this is not something that F1 would do. I mean, it's a pinnacle of motorsport. We can't have spec cars like.
We can't have like spec cars like F2. So like I said, like I mentioned, the teams have let me down.
Yeah.
They need to do something about it. And I've had like Alfa Romeo. They also want to bin their car. They want to just throw it away. I've heard them talking about
coming into with an entirely. Let me tell you, Williams, they've been doing very well this year. But interestingly, AlphaTauri has been bringing upgrades to their car, and that's why even Tsunoda was able to go very nicely.
Yeah.
Williams haven't brought any upgrades, mostly like any major upgrades, like in the last like couple of races. Their entire, like, you remember, they shifted their focus to their 2024 car, and I hope. I mean, they have James Wells, like he seems like a very level-headed guy, like he's leading them somewhere. So like that's also one team to like look out for. McLaren as well. McLaren might be, seeing
McLaren
how they've completed their form.
But also
know
what they're doing.
But let me tell you, Red Bull will I think we'll do this in another episode. We're talking about like what we anticipate for next year.
Yeah.
But I'm already telling you, like Lewis made comments about Max finished 17 seconds ahead of everyone.
Yeah.
And, looking at that car, they haven't brought any major upgrades. Like, if anything, nothing, right? Like, there's not been made, like, they haven't changed that car. So the RB20 will be, I don't know, like...
Might even be faster.
I don't know. I mean, they have
50
to...
seconds
They have to
to
end their
P2.
season, like, very, very happy.
I mean, they literally told us they're not bringing any upgrades to their car. They've already shifted their focus to the RB20. So that was very early on in the season.
That's what they
Mercedes
said.
are still thinking, should we put side pods or no side pods to our car?
They didn't even have a concept to
They
commit to.
didn't even have a concept. So maybe next year might be McLaren, might be Ferrari,
Williams.
might be another team.
Alpha Tauri, but basically, I can, like, of course, if I see the Racing Bulls with the RB19, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah,
Like, that's
might-
it. Like,
might
and
be
they might
another
even
car.
end up being even faster than the rest of the grid again.
Yeah. So,
So
maybe
anyway,
another car,
like, yeah.
but I would just say this to any Mercedes fan, like Lewis Hamilton said, I'm not looking forward to the next season. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow. Don't have any hopes.
Yeah,
maybe,
I think that's
maybe
the hope
after
that
summer
kills
break.
us. Yeah, maybe we'll
But
think
not in
about it.
Bahrain.
Yeah, not like, and I think what is the other thing? Alfa Romeo. There's Alpine. Alpine, first of all, I mean, I like that team, but I think they need to figure out their structural. Like, I don't know
Yeah.
if it's going to affect them. The fact that they have so many like showbiz investors. Like, investors are good in F1. I mean, of course, you need a budget to operate with from the word go. But I don't know. I don't know. Did they stop having interim like structure? Like, I don't know if there's anyone who's confirmed, but I feel like, you remember there's a team like they were firing everyone like this weekend. Like,
Yeah,
and I
someone
feel like
is fired.
Yeah, and sometimes when it comes to races, the drivers are like arguing with themselves. They had a very dismal race. Like, they didn't end the year very well. Like, but this is the year Besti has gotten a podium as well. So, and also Gasly has gotten a podium. So that's a team with like very good drivers, Esteban Ocon and Pierre Gasly. Like, maybe next year they need to get their structure right. Like, they
They need to get the structure right, and also they are also like disadvantaged because they're running a Renault engine.
Why can't they change? Like,
I mean, so already they're disadvantaged.
with their so, and
With
then
their
also I think
package.
the other news that we haven't mentioned is that McLaren, I thought they were actually going to be a Red Bull powertrain. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened to them. So they signed with the Mercedes and McLaren inked a deal until I think their Mercedes will continue providing their power units till I think 2030, up to 2030. 2030,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
So from they will supply their engines from 2026
Yeah.
because right now they still have a deal. They're going to supply them next year, 2026, until like 2026 when we're having the new regulations
yeah.
again. Up to 2030, they will supply their power unit. I actually thought they were going to go
The Red Bull way.
yeah, I actually thought they were going to be a Red Bull power unit, powertrain. Anyway,
Maybe they see promise.
I think
Maybe they do see promise.
and I think the other thing, for me, there's something. The other news. So from the other findings, I think there was like end of end of year business. So next year, apparently, Pirelli was supposed to bring. We were supposed to get rid of the tire warmers,
tire blankets.
the tire blankets, the ones that maintain the like leg warmers, the blankets.
Yeah,
they warm
the
the tires to
yeah,
like 70 degrees. So now we actually thought we would not get them, but I think they decided it's too early to actually
it's too soon, too
it's
dangerous.
too soon and too dangerous to actually just let the tires road dog the track. So they're still going to protect them and keep
Yeah.
the tire blankets. And I think the other thing is that they're also looking into the sprint format to change it because now it's not making
Amen.
sense. We'll wait and see how that pans out as well. What's the other interesting thing coming out of that thing? Car development. Apparently, they stopped car development. Like, you can't. So next year, they can't be allowed to develop a car for 2025, right?
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
can't start your development
Earlier.
during the season.
Yeah.
So let's see and wait. I'm actually I'm not looking very forward, as you said. I'm just looking forward to tomorrow. There's no hope. But props to all the people. Shout out to all the workers, all the people who do work behind the scenes, the F1 content creators who bring us content, the media houses, the drivers for showing up,
Yeah.
and the fans as well. And also, we also want to, you guys have been riding with us for 6 months. You have been riding with us for 6 months, and we are so super. I'm actually like I'm super grateful. Thank you for all of you that share our content, that follow us on TikTok, on Instagram,
That engage with us,
and
yeah.
engage with us. And those who comment here, we know our regulars, like you're like our day one. So we thank you. We've come to the end of the season,
Yeah.
and the session here today. But that doesn't mean we have to end content, because you'll still get content from
yeah.
us majorly. So we want to, honestly, I just want to thank you. I am just feeling, as in, like, honestly, we have gotten like amazing like support, and especially like I could mention a few people, but we'll shout you out. Apasi Radio.
Yeah.
And also thank you to our super producer Githui. Thank you for filming and always creating our content as well, so shout out to you. Thank you, Ray, for always showing up. And even when this is the season you got concussed and the day you left me to debrief, was it a Dutch Grand Prix?
I went go-karting,
Go-kart,
and then I did a Charles Leclerc and hit the barriers, and then I got concussed. But I feel like now with this new with me being a Formula One fan, I'm actually very excited to, actually now branch out into other series.
Yeah.
Watching the F2, the feeder series is into F1. F2 coming next year. There's a driver I'm really excited to see, Kimi Antonelli.
Oh my god, I'm so happy he's gotten into F2. He's so young,
I was racking my head in the morning. I'm trying to think now, if he wins F2, where is he going to go? Are they going to keep him in F2, or they're gonna bring him in F1? Like I was I'm really excited. So I really hope that pays off. Yesterday, to be honest, there's a point during the race I stopped watching the race and started watching MotoGP, because they had a title showdown in the last race, and my driver won. I'm very happy. He is they call him the Max Verstappen of MotoGP. His number is also number 1. It's called Peko. So he was defending his title. So I was actually happy he won. But the person who was also trying didn't win. He actually crashed. So it was really sad. But I'm excited. I'm also excited to watch endurance championships next year.
Honestly, like I don't know. I think I watched like the Bahrain one, the one that the Iron Dames won. It's an interesting thing. They don't have so many rounds. It's not exhausting, and I can't wait to watch like Le Mans next year and whatever.
Yeah,
and
actually,
also
Le Mans was really interesting this year.
Yeah,
so many cars crashed. I loved it.
But this is a year Ferrari won, right?
They won Le Mans.
Yeah. So I just want to shout you out. Like, if you support the World Spin, thank you. Next year we can't wait to actually head on. We are going to give you new things, better things as well. So thank you, and shout out to myself as well for actually always showing up and giving you guys content. Yeah. So
why are you shouting yourself up?
You weren't shouting me out.
I've been shouting you out. Shout out to Winnie.
And she got me flowers, guys. Like, how cute are this? You guys, if he wanted, he could. So thank you. These are the cutest. Like, I feel very appreciated, and we appreciate you guys as well.
Yes.
Like, I feel so emotional. It's not like it's our last.
You're saying it like it's our last hoorah.
It is like for 2023, like with debriefing races.
True.
So thank you for sticking with us, man. And we can't wait to see, like, we're going to give you more content with the feeder series and everything. F1 Academy is going to run with F1 next year, and I'm so excited to see that and how that unfolds as well. We have WRC. I'm looking forward to the Safari Rally round here in Kenya. They're going to be here again, so we can't wait for that as well. So thank you for riding with us, and we will catch you in the next. Also, it's our half birthday today.
Half year.
You
can't have a half birthday.
So we have been in existence for 6 months. So, and for that reason, we have a very, very special episode coming out. It will come out next week. This one goes live like this week after the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. The other one goes live next week. It's just a get to know us video, just celebration of our half year. Just get to know, why do we actually do
what
F1?
We do. Yeah.
Why do you even have another job? Like, is this all I do? Is this do we even get money here? Like, why do you even support Lewis Hamilton so much?
Yeah.
Like, if you want to find out all those things, why do we do F1 from Kenya, from Nairobi? Who cares? Who's watching? Why do we care about all those things? Find out in that particular special episode that will drop next week. Yeah. So thank you, and have a lovely start of the week, and happy holidays as well. Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.